I've got interesting topic I might ask the subs for help with. In this box is a pair of Xeon 2687 or V or W 2687, something like that. They were originally $2,000 CPUs. They run at 3.2 gigahertz, scale up to I think 3.8 during turbo, and I think they're 8 cores each. They might be 10. You'd have to look it up. 2687. And it's not the most recent one. I think it's the version 1, but I'm not even sure about that. It might be 2. But I'm thinking of making a PC out of it. The one I have has proven to be unreliable. It crashes too often while I'm editing, and I lose some work, and that's so frustrating for me. And then this is a weird thing. The taskbar disappears half the time it wakes up from sleep. And I have to like do Control Escape to make it show, and then put it somewhere else. If I had it at the bottom, now it goes at the top. Now it goes on the left. It's on the left right now. I don't want it on the left. That's never my choice, but that's where it is because the other one's it broke on the top. It broke on the bottom. Now I'm on choice 3, left. Fuck it, right? So I'm like, you know what? I want a new PC. I think this might make for a good rendering machine. Now I've read that Premiere Pro doesn't work too well past after 6 or 8 cores, but I do other shit while I render, and I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. So what would you guys do if you had a pair, this is the listener, of 2687 Xeon CPUs? Would you put together a dual CPU workstation? I'm thinking about it.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're like $4,000. Probably not now because the other few years
Well,
old.
you got a big part of that $4,000 already.
I mean, that's what they would cost. That's what I'm saying. And
Oh,
like,
I thought you already had them right there in that box.
Yeah, I do. I guess that's what I'm saying. So yeah, and then the other stuff is a little more like ECC RAM is a bit more expensive, and a dual Xeon motherboard is a bit more expensive. But mostly, it wouldn't be too much. I don't think. I'm thinking.
How will they game?
I think they'll game fine. I think the games in general are not CPU limited, so you just put in a high-end GPU and you're okay. I think. And then, the other neat thing, AT&T was out front today, and I got a note about it from like that homeowners association president guy. They're installing fiber optic in my neighborhood right now. He says it'll be like another month, but I guess in response to Google like choosing this area as a place to lay fiber, AT&T has stepped up their fiber game, and like they're out there with the big rolls today, laying out fiber in my front yard.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I was joking with Chiz, well, half joking with Chiz. I was like, would it be insane if I got an apartment to stream video games from? Like, would that be insane?
It's a little crazy.
I feel like you haven't had a quote yet. Like, get a quote. Like, that's the thing. Like, I remember.
I know what it would be. I know exactly what it would be.
What's totally? Give the rundown.
All right, go to Athens, or somewhere between here and Athens, Georgia, and get a 1-bedroom, very shitty apartment in an area that has high-speed internet. So, the apartment's going to cost $600 a month, and the internet's going to be another, let's just call it 100 and make it a round number. So we're talking about $700 a month. But I don't know. I really like playing Civ. That's very conducive to streaming. And then the Modern Warfare Remastered is about to come out. I know I'm going to put time into it. I know I'm going to put a bunch of time into it. So just a thought I had.
I feel like
the commute to my gaming apartment, and then like, well, I guess I'll leave all my gaming gear here in Athens and go back to my house. Like I don't like any of that. Like all of those things are just because it's a drive. It's not like a casual thing. It's 45 minutes.
You'd be going to the office. I feel like if I was in your situation, I'd be calling the ISPs, the one you have, maybe some of the other ones, or cable modems in your area somewhere. And like when I went, I called Time Warner, and I'm like, I need service in my area. And they look up my address and stuff and say, sorry, we don't go there. And I'm like, look, I looked at your map. I entered like neighbors' addresses and stuff, and I get that you don't serve my house, but you serve houses not too far from mine. What does it cost to bring it? And they're like, well, we just don't, like, it's not available there. I'm like, I know, but money solves this. And she's like, oh, well, I would have to put you in contact with construction. Why was that weird in the first place? Like, and
I saw a Reddit post today, and it was like, what was the most expensive or the most extravagant use of money you've ever seen someone do? And I think like the number one comment was this guy who was like, this guy wanted high-speed internet at his place, way off the grid. I don't remember if it was 6 figures or 7 figures, but it was a lot of money for him to get that internet connection.
Mine was a lot less. So it started at, I want to say it was high 12s, like 12,600 or something like that. And I was prepared to pay that. Mostly because, like, look, I was buying a house. The house is expensive, and you just add like 12 grand to the cost of the house and see if you still want it. And I was like, yeah, for that much, it's not a deal breaker, you know. But not having internet at all was a deal breaker. Right? The house is just unacceptable otherwise. So, but then what happened was they asked me to. I hated it, but they asked me to go door to door and like sell it to my neighbors. But it was an easy sale. It was an easy sale because each of them had like 2 up and. No, I'm sorry, like 2 down and 0.2 up, like AT&T phone shit. And to them, like, I'm not a dickhead salesman. I'm like a hero that's finally bringing high-speed internet to the area. So most of them signed up, and my cost went from like 12-something to 4-something, if I recall. And it might have even been 3-something. So that's what it was. Anyway, I asked myself, like, you know, if you're thinking about like an apartment, even casually, like, let's get a quote. Like, call construction. What does it take to get real internet here? I know it's a possibility. I just need a quote. And if that quote comes in at like 30 grand, you might be like, you know, maybe.
I think I've got 2 internet providers near me, and one of them is in a lawsuit for not providing the coverage they promised, and the other one should be. You know what I mean? Like so
you'd be getting in with a shitty partnership, right? Like, if it was Google,
I think I will call them, and because here's the thing, and I'm not 1,000% sure on this, but I've been told this, and I need to dig a little deeper. It's been a few years since I've really fucking like, all right, hey, come on, help me, no, really help me, like, and I've actually gotten to them. I threatened them a couple of years ago, and they sorted things out, but it's kind of stagnated since then. No improvement. I think the school near me has high-speed internet, so if it could be ran from there,
right?
I don't know how much it costs to run that line, but if it's $10,000 a mile, let's call it.
Are there telephone poles across your front yard? Like, you know, there's obviously a road with the yellow line in front of the house. Does that have telephone poles on it?
No. But it comes to my house from the back part of the property, coming from another area, and so does the internet. It's coming from the back part of the property as well. It's not coming from the road, so you'd have to get it down the road to the address and then up the driveway. It's not a matter of just getting down the driveway.
It is ridiculous that you, of all people, who makes their living on the internet, can't get a half fucking decent connection, and it's been what? 7 years?
I only ask because if it goes by telephone pole, it's a little cheaper per foot than if it goes underground.
That would be nice. I saw Linus Tech Tip the other day. I think it was him who was talking about this thing that combines 2 internet lines into one.
Sure.
That seemed pretty interesting. He'd been using it for a month and said it was great. So that's definitely a consideration. I mean, what I've got now is okay. It's right on the cusp of being like stream worthy. Mm-hmm. So if I could double it, it's like, all right, I'm here. Or if I could even add 60-70% to it. But I think that would be fun to stream like Civ, because there's so much going on in that game that I would most of the time I wish I had an extra pair of extra pair of eyes just to like watch and like if I could look at the chat and play along with them. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I want to do a 1v1 you versus me so I can figure it out and get a little better, because playing against AI does not get you better, because I've never set a difficulty to, the way it has difficulties is like there's like 7 options where it's like pauper, serf, prince, king, whatever.
Settler, prince, king, emperor, immortal, deity. Okay,
and so I've never played. Usually, most games like you go to very hard, which in this is like immortal or something, or king. I don't remember, and it's like, okay, this is really tough. Like, this is hard. This game, it almost feels lazy the way they do the AI. It's like, well, we're not going to make the AI any smarter, really, or better. We're just going to give them more resources. And so then they can have a lot of spearmen that will die before your riflemen in late ages, instead of having, like, 2 spearmen that die to your riflemen. Like, it just, I don't like that at all. I wish that they added some kind of, like, better tactics to the more difficult.
Text, too. Like, like, as you're working your way up the tech tree, it's like, what? Like, you were born with nukes? You just knew how to do that somehow?
They give them an advantage in every component of the game, to the part where it's really hard. Like beating it the other day, I was on defense pretty much the whole game. Like, I would see England start coming toward my borders like they're going to declare war, and I'd be like, oh shit, they're coming. And I'd quickly, like, evaluate my resources, and I'd start talking to the Queen of England and be like, hey, what could I pay you to instead declare war on this guy? And sometimes I'd have to give her, like, 2 luxury resources and a bunch of gold, but she'd do it. And that would buy me time to, like, tech away. And then I would see, like, Rome coming and doing the same thing, and I would pay them off to go fight somebody. So everybody else is fighting their own wars, and I was just kind of paying for them to happen so they'd leave me alone. But that's it. I don't know how else you beat DD.
You can pay people to go fight. So the only option I've seen is, shall we declare war on whatever?
You want to go into trade
and they always
options?
say no. Nobody's ever down with it. I'm always like, hey, shall we declare war on Genghis Khan? And they're like, oh, give me 10 turns. I'll be ready in 10 turns, and I'll get back to you. I wasn't good at counting turns the first couple times that I played the game, and so I'd be like 30 turns later, and I'm like, Nebuchadnezzar, you son of a bitch. It's been like 28 turns, and you did not get back to me. And so I go and ask him again, hey, Nebuchadnezzar, are you ready to declare war on the Incan priest of South America? Give me 10 turns. And I was like, this is bullshit. So I just started the war, and then he had to join.
Yeah, dealing with the AI through the trade thing is like a bunch of rules you got to remember. Like, you can sell your embassy to it, you can sell your horses and iron to it for quite a bit. You can, once you have a friendship with them, you can sell for, instead of gold per turn, you can sell for lump sums of gold, which is cool, because what you can do if you're about to declare war on England, you can be like, hey, what will you pay me in a lump sum for everything I have? And they'll be like, 2,000 gold. And you'll be like, ka-kink! You take their 2,000 gold, and then you declare war on them. So you take all your resources right back and keep their gold. You can ask people what they will pay you to declare war on somebody, because sometimes they hate that person, and they'll pay you to declare a war you were already going to start. So playing the AI is a big part of winning on the higher difficulties.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more helpful to play 1v1 with someone. It won't be fun, really, probably, because I'll just lose. But as long as you're not giving me, like, bad tips the whole time, like, oh yeah, you're going to want to just put everything into marble work. Forget about those citrus plants and that spices. You are a marble folk. The Huns. Made of marble, they used to say. Like, just giving me bad tips. But, it'll be fun.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. I can't play tonight, but maybe this weekend for sure.